it's time to educate. Well, today I'm going to believe in inflation and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Clearly, valuation trade is not good in a stagflation environment, right? It's just something we have to put in the back of our mind, and this is why it's so bizarre what's going on with the 10-year. All right, countdown, 14 days, FOMC, yeah. I wish they had, instead of a dot plot now, I wish they had a taper plot, right? Because they said they're not going to raise rates, but they want to taper, which in essence is a way of raising rates, but hey, just saying. September 22nd, put on your calendar. Let's take a look at the GDP. So we're starting to get some revisions down on the GDP. Good quarter. The fourth quarter, yeah. Once upon a time, right? A 3% GDP growth would be fantastic. So by now we are at 3.79. Okay, US expected an economic taper, I guess something like that. I think, and this is something that's going to eventually work its way through. Maybe I think we're going to get the discretionary, consumer discretionary versus consumer staples. I still think consumer staples is where you want to be, mainly because we know that a lot of these companies are going to raise rates this month on their products. Okay. Consumer discretionary, well, it's discretionary, right? You know, we'll see, but there's a lot of big ideas going on right now, but then I look at the technicals and I look at these momentum breakouts on the daily, weekly, monthly on some of these names. And some of these names are just fantastic setups. And this is why we're, you know, there are a lot of times when I don't shout it out, but this is what I have to say. We're in a stock pickers market. We have the best technician guiding us. I'm looking at these things and, you know, we can do the bigger picture ideas. And this is when I start to formulate. I don't care about a lot of things, but I you know, I'm going to be in my China growth stuff. Yeah, you know, but it's an investment, not a trading vehicle. Now especially for those who are looking for shorter time frames, this is pretty much, you got the range, you got the volatility, and some of these names that, you know, you can make some serious money on a percentage as well as dollar wise. So I don't know, just saying. Okay, so this came out, says this was a Communist Party front page editorial. It will not derail China's opening up. Now, let's be honest here. Do you really, really, really think that the Communist Party, Xi's party, is going to force layoffs and unemployment to spike and go higher and higher and higher? I don't think so. And once again, I will say some of the regulatory things that they are doing actually is notable and brings them in line with global regulatory standards. I have no idea what the hell's going on here in terms of jobs. I mean, I still can't figure out what the hell happened with non-farm payroll. And we know for a fact that a lot of these states who basically stopped with the extra unemployment, they said, well, people are going to go back to work. Well, guess what? It made no difference. I don't know. It's remarkable the world we live in. I just marvel at it every single day. These are wondrous times, and these are historic times, my friends. I mean, we're living the dream. We're living history right now. Just amazing, right? Okay, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, they want a piece of this defense pie. I don't know how this is going to work out, but bidding, yada, yada, yada. Okay, let's talk. This is office occupancy. The retail side, right? This is where we were before the pandemic. This is where we are. Is this the new norm? No idea. But it's something we have to think about, right? Just saying. All right, let's get to digital currencies pave way for, this is actually a fascinating article. I recommend, a lot of what we do is education here. This actually makes a ton of sense, right? And maybe this is a new norm. I don't know. Just saying, I don't know. Big picture ideas coming at you. Okay, job postings are waning levels. Okay, South China coronavirus case. All right, so we're getting back to the pandemic versus endemic. South Korea says, yes, this is endemic, and this is like the flu. Flu is COVID. We're going to be living with this. Get on with your life, citizens. Move forward. Unfortunately, I cannot. A lot of people can. I'm one of those 3-jab people, which makes it kind of worrisome and bothersome, but hey, it's my life and I'm living it. Mortgage man, 2 months, stagnant. Bitcoin white sold off. Whatever. It's an investment. I don't care. Now this is interesting because this is Singapore, right? So they're saying that a lot of investment houses are saying on a valuation basis, and me, I'm all about value, right? Investment value, right? Long-term swings. This is the narrative that in my mind, this is what I'm looking for. That's why a lot of these consumer staples, Home Depot, Lowe's, some of these Walmart, some of these names, they just know how to make money, right? So when some of these that are sold off, taken to the woodsheds, towed, feathered, and executed are down to low PE multiples, like a Baidu at 7.4, that gets my attention because they're not going out of business, right? At what point, what does it have to go to 0, the PE multiple? Come on. To me, anything that's below, let's say Baba has been 70 and it goes down to 25, right? Why wouldn't I? That's just my thought. Okay, let's look at our peeps. Do we have any peeps? Early this morning, we had no peeps. All right, and these are my friends who are 70+% success rate. 2. Canaccord, Bank of America, John Babcock, OWLT, nice. 36% average return, my friends. If you could be right 79% of the time, 79%, would you not take that trade? You'd be a superstar, a rock star, right? Here's Maps, 81% this dude. No dudettes, but GPT got a one. Look at this. Wedbush. Pretty interesting, right? Red Hill, I love this company. So if we see any, but the guy's not well, anyways. We'll see if we get any call volume on it. Let's see what happened yesterday. All right, self-statements, everything. XLC, XLY, right, yada, yada. We had technology. Okay, that's good, right? Whew. Let's take a peek. Sentiment, risk on, risk off. Okay. Up volume ratio, it is excessive. Excessive optimism, yeah, we're there. dumb money confidence. Hey, I don't like this, but that's Yeezys and Yeezys, sorry. But dumb money has been all in this, and smart money has not. Just saying. But the smart money is at a FOMO type bubble pop. I don't know. Anyways, fear and greed model. It's almost impossible to use a fear and greed model right now. I mean, it literally is impossible. Well, you can see here, 50%, right? 50. It's crazy. Anyways, risk appetite came in. That's starting to go up against stock bond ratio, getting to the upper quadrant, notable. Conference board stocks coming down. Analyst price changes. Interesting, right? AAI bull ratio coming down. So like I say, a lot of smart money. SPY breath coming down. So a lot of these things would not show us what all-time highs. And this is why it's so friggin' complicated. Because if you look at the indices as a whole, the sum total of what's going on means we can go a lot higher. And this is why it's almost impossible. On a momentum basis to pick tops, you don't want to. You lose money that way. It's gains, right? Okay. Short-term, intermediate-term risk, neutral. Literally neutral. That's crazy. Okay, seasonality. Gold bugs, Italy, retail, semis, Spain, sentiments. And look, we got a plethora of red. XLK, SLV, IWM, QQQ. A lot of red here. So that's negative seasonality, sloppy choppy. September, October, this is what it's telling us. Sloppy choppy. Right? Okay, let's take a look. China, we have to have a pullback in China. I think we're getting it today. We'll see how it plays out. But when anyone is bright red like this 90s, right? It's extended, right? So that's something notable. The green is what we like. So the US, this is crazy. The US is it's in the buy quadrant. It's crazy. I don't know. And this is why quantitative easing makes it so complex, and why the reality is you want to basically just follow the technicals, right? Let's see. Okay, macro. Fund flows starting to wane, available cash still coming in, equity money market, and this is actually a red flag, right? Less cash to invest on the sidelines. Equity money market ratios continues to go higher. That's going to eventually be a red flag. But here, this is where we were when we really saw a pullback, and retail money market ratio is still low, mutual fund cash levels still low, and this is the consumer is scared shitless. I know, crazy, right? Here's our heat map. You can see right here, FXI is in the 90s, and you can see a lot of the rows in red is now beige, which is perfect for us, right? And we're getting more and more in this green quadrant, which is the bounce levels. But you know me, I like my single digits. And here we go. This is breath. Look at this reset on breath. Okay, this was rosy red. Now look at it. Buying on the diamond, it's in the green quadrant, which is the buy. XLI industrials, 12. XLF, 20. Wow. So this is, as you saw, this would, on the breath side, would be a tailwind for the market, right? Not a headwind. The 50s, above greater than 50-day, this is starting to turn the same way. This was predominantly all rosy red, except for the IWM, right? And consumer staples. Now look at it. And then you have the 200 still rosy red. Nifty 50, Sensex, so overseas, you saw money peeling off. You know, Twins and I talk about this all the time, and he and I are kindred spirits when it comes to this stuff. Big picture investment type ideas. And he and I mean, we still think money's going to peel off the US and go overseas. There's still valuation, more so on the Chinese side. So the reality is, okay, so there's sell STFP and BTFD. So sell the fucking pop and then buy the fucking dip. Okay, so what's going to happen is we're going to see pullbacks happening. We're going to see lower highs start, and people are going to start getting punished for getting short the Chinese tickers. That's what's going to happen. Okay. Don't forget, people say, oh, it's just short-term bounce, gee, yada, yada, yada. Let's take a look at our memes. So, Clover Health, we saw this yesterday. We jumped on it. Really notable. Average stock volume is 29, so, 2.5 times, right? Gets my attention every day, right? And non-stop call volume as well as sweeps, right? BBIG, another one. So these are the two that were kind of super cool, right? BBIG, I know that Robert and I have been accumulating it lower. And the reason being is it's a meme, I understand, but there's a reason why I want to be in it is because the Indian version of TikTok. That's okay. That's their partner. Well, not partnership, but that's their, they went in, they basically became one entity, right? So anyways, kind of fun. Let's see. It's continuing right now. BBIG, LFG, 13%. I got it across multiple accounts. Let's see what happens with it. All right, let's see what our hype's up to. So this is, it's really, I find really fascinating. This is basically social media, right? Yesterday, right? So ton of fives, no sixes, which is really remarkable. So Apple, this should make sense to everybody, right? JD, MasterCard. So we saw a bounce in the fintech, right? MasterCard, Visa, PayPal, yada, yada, yada. And I actually use this as an opportunity to go in longer term swing in Visa and MasterCard, the dip. I actually didn't do PayPal, but we'll see. I might. Penn, fantastic. DraftKings, really fun. So all of this is stuff that we played, right? Intraday yesterday, a lot of these tickers. So that plays out. Okay, so what did we get? So we got the memes basically, right? AMC, right? BBIG, BABA. So we continue to see money flowing in, and this is what we want to see yesterday, continuation theme, right? So Tesla had multiple prints. This is fantastic. Tesla, it tends to do really well, right? When it gets this sort of volume, but it's a continuation thing. We have to see a continuation of that on with Tesla, but nice little move overnight on it. So we'll see what, what's going to happen. So I'm in Tesla in multiple accounts, but more as a swing. Okay, LFG, right? I'll take it. Apple continues to get wonderful prints. So the September 14th, it still gets a tailwind into October, and then we're probably going to get out of all the shorter dated stuff that we're in, Delta stuff for October, right? AMC, right? BABA. So this is exactly what we want to see, multiple prints. The only problem with this is I don't want to see short dated stuff, okay? And a lot of these smaller ones are retail, not institutional. So, when you get 6 figures, multiple prints, that's really fantastic. This is also retail. A lot of this is retail with NVIDIA. A lot of them were weeklies. So, Carl, this is really interesting. And I shouted this out. It's in the money. I understand that. But I mean, 1.1 million. I mean, that's pretty, robust, bullish. October. So we're seeing in the Cal, EDU, go to a lot of that. PDD. If we get some more PDD, I actually will follow it. But once again, I don't want shorter dated. I want longer dated. Okay. Oh, and just so you know, that hut that was scanning yesterday, that was a buy from Paul Mampilli. He's got a massive following. So that's what happened with it. All right, let's take a look at volatility indices. Well, my time is up. As you can see, it was grinding higher. This is the new norm, right? 25 on the upside, 18 on the downside, right? And the mid is about 21. So get used to it, right? All right, so let's take a look at our bonds. What's going on here? Now let's look at the local look here. Okay, so what do we got? US 10-year. It's up again, yields down, rates up, really crazy stuff. So we have a triple top here on the 10-year yield, right? So now we're going to test the bottoms here. I have no idea, what's going to, I would suspect going into the FOMC that this is what we're going to see. But like I say, the beige book could have impact on what we do this afternoon at 2 o'clock. Just be aware of that. All right, so here's the 210, right? So the yield curve was going up. Now it's starting to come back in, which is not good for the market, right? Here's the 5-year. This is the taper sweet spot. So this is really interesting. So this has been weaker on the yield side than the 10-year's been. So that's kind of interesting, I find. Here's the German rates, almost got all the way up to here, the 38.2, this fib, right? Rebuffed by back again, and here's the 10 US. So we're not going anywhere with that one, but my time is up. Welcome once again to those of you joining us pre-market here. It's time for me to pass it on to Spartan. Now you ready, sir?
Just need a minute or two, Beth, here, please.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, so let's rip through these. All right, so that's the German. This is the Chinese. They had been lowering their rates. Okay, and here you see the 10 US. So this is at the bottom end of the quadrant. We'll see how that plays out. Let's take a look at the dollar DXY, the US dollar index, right? And as you can see here, there's a pros and cons. You know me, I want the dollar to go down, but we're in this quadrant. It's going to be really fascinating. And this is the thing that really interested me more is the stability. This is a monthly where the Chinese are saying, nope, we're not going anywhere. Right? All right, so let's take a look at the global. Just the futures on the indices, down a little bit, more across the board, and then up a little bit in Hang Seng China H shares, Nifty 50 up as well. All right, let's take a look at the DAX. Okay, so it fell below the pivot, negative. Nasdaq DAX, okay, starting to come back down, but it is still holding this. So our Nasdaq is stronger than, obviously, that. We have to keep an eye on this, okay? So that would be an indication that we are going to have a more sustainable pullback in our market if this continues to go down. Notable. Fez tried to break out, still hanging in there, but we'll see how that plays out. So we had a failure across the board on a lot of stuff. Here's Fez against the SPY. You can see it's been weakening, but we're starting to see a bounce. So this would mean that the SPY is having a more sustainable pullback. So all of these are kind of saying potentially that this could happen. EFA small cap is still holding up the breakout, right? We wanted this to go down, but it's going the other way. So that's not a look that we want to see. And that would be valuation trades, right, in terms of stagflation. We'll see. It's so complex. All right, Shanghai still holding up fine on the breakout. Here's the CQQQ trying to break out, still holding the breakout pivot right now. Okay, so it's a positive. QQQ, CQQQ. So you see here the Qs are weakening against the Chinese QQQs. Notable. Still, this is a monthly, so inside month. So what would be the first big inclination that something is more sustainable in terms of investments on China would be breaking this. And that would tell me that money is flowing out of the US and going into China. Okay, this would be the Qs against the Q. And this is actively traded. Here's the K-Web still holding up fine on the pullback. FANG still holding up fine on the breakout. So today we're going to do a quick dive in terms of FANG against the world. Here's FANG against the XLY, still doing fine. Now this obviously is discretionary, right? So what's the next level of breakout here? Now don't forget this, we'll see how this plays out, right? But this is a W, as you can see right here. Let's see how it plays out on the weekly. All right, FANG against XLK, still rallying against XLK. We have reverted back to the mean. So we have to see how this plays out. So once again, this coming down would be bearish for the market because FANG has led this rally, right? Here's FANG against healthcare. Wow, okay, here we are. Big deal, right? This downtrend extension trying to break out, last week's high trying to break out. If it does, then we got a W coming in, right? So that would be a bullish narrative, and that would probably be, the stagflation trade, right? I hate to say it, but it's true. FANG against XLC once again, W. So FANG is kicking ass across the board. It's not your imagination. Let's see if it continues, right? One thing we'd have to look at is failure to take out this level right here, right, on the spread. Here's the Dow against FANG. Notable, right? Weakening, but it's in this bottom quadrant. So a lot of these things are in their breakout levels, right? At the levels that would be the next leg up or the next leg down, right? And you have to, when you look at these spreads, it's very similar to looking at commodities. Okay, you want to buy when nobody wants to buy, and you want to sell when nobody wants to sell. You cannot assume it's going to break out. So this is where, if you are in FANG, right, this is where you would start look to peel off some profits on it. Okay, roll up and out, and then basically wait for the next level to come down. Okay, all right. Let's take a look at the Nasdaq, right? So this is really fascinating because if you look in terms of reversion to the mean, right, it's basically it's potentially, okay, a move, and there's an extension line here. So what I'm looking at, if we do get a pullback, I'm looking at around a 6% pullback in the market, okay? The SPY, as you can see, has every time it reverts back to the mean, it gets bought up. So that's that BTFD moment, right? So that would be like almost 4% decline. And the reason why I'm saying is that because we got a little bit of a double top going on right now, right? Double top on the Qs, double top on the SPY from last week. The Dow, this has, as you can see here, it has farther to revert back to the mean. Right? And this would be 11%. So if the market does roll over, then the Dow is one of the what you would want to be short. So if you're looking to hedge, it would be the Dow because just the way it's coming back, right? And then here we have the Russell, which has.
All right, Beth, I'm ready to come on.
Okay, let's have fun.
Thank you so much, guys. Morning. What's going on? Let me just pop up the screen share here. There we go. All righty. So let's take a look at what we got going on today, guys. A couple different things. If you guys are new to the chat, Discord was emailed to you. Make sure to click the link, go to the new to chat information section when you do come in, give that a read. Obviously that's where all the information is for onboarding. I will go through that once we close down the YouTube stream later on. So, but for now, go through that, give it a read. All right, let's take a look at what we got going on this morning, guys. A couple different things, pre-market tickers on watch. A couple things that we're looking at today. Tesla, Coop, UPST, Coin, Path, GANX. Let's kind of rip through these. So Tesla, China Passenger Car Association said Tesla sold 44,264 China-made vehicles in August, gapping up on that. So doing well on those China numbers. Coop, earnings beat EPS and revs, year-over-year growth, 42.3%. Q3 guidance raised, EPS and revs, 2021 guidance raised for EPS and revs as well. Stocks gapping up nicely. UPST, Piper Sandler maintains overweight on UPST Holdings, raises price target $300. Stocks gapping up. Things have been on an absolute tear to the upside as well. Coin, $3 billion liquidated in 24 hours as crypto bloodbath continues. Stocks gapping down. Path earnings miss, EPS and rev beat, Q3 guidance slightly higher. Stocks gapping down. Then GANX, Gain Therapeutics announces positive top-line data in patient-derived iPSC study validating STAR compounds as a treatment for Gaucher and Parkinson's disease. Stock is gapping up. Let's take a look at these names from a technical standpoint. Intraday, first two we're going to be looking at today, guys, are Tesla and Coop. So Tesla and Coop, which are Tesla overnight. Gapping up a little bit. All right, Tesla, let's take a look at what we got going on. Or swing, I should say. Okay, let's take a look at that daily real quick. Obviously, big breakout on the daily. Beautiful looking chart. Getting to the, I believe, the top of this little range as well. Let's see here. I'll see that we're at the top of that wedge is. I think we're breaking through it, which is going to mean we could, if we can hold above it, we can potentially go parabolic. All right, that looks good. Overall, daily chart looks fantastic, actually. Just making sure my levels are all correct. This one's gonna have to change. It's too low or high. That pivot point there. Okay. That all looks good. All right, let's take a look at this thing intraday here. It's gonna have some room, it looks like. So 761.56 going to be the pivot to the upside today. That level's able to hold. We have room for continuation into this 779.02 spot. Unable to hold. We look for a pullback towards the 746.656, sorry, to 730.20 on the downside. Above the 779 level, I believe it's 792 is where we got room to. Sorry, 796.46 on the upside. So we have room for further continuation above that. Overall, on Tesla, going to be leaning bullish today. Big level to be able to hold above is, of course, going to be that pivot point. So we'll see if we're able to hold above that level for continuation. But overall, leaning bullish, looking for that continuation push if that pivot point is able to be reclaimed and held this morning. Top of the wedge is breaking, potentially to go parabolic. All right, let's take a look at Coop. So Coop was gapping up on its earnings nicely. Gave it all back almost, which is not great. Tight levels. All right, let's take a look at this thing intraday. Had a pretty good run up into earnings as well. Earnings were pretty strong though. So 277.22 pivot levels able to hold. We got room back towards 285.91 to 295.34. Unable to hold. We look for a pullback towards 268.16 to the 261.33 level on the downside. Overall on Coop, going to be leaning on the bullish side today, looking for a continuation push higher if that pivot point can hold. So pivot point's able to be reclaimed. We can look for a continued push back to the upside. I do think the earnings were good. Yes, it was a little bit bought up into, but it also did lag behind all the other cloud-based names for the last, I don't know, 3 months. So we'll see what happens there. So that is Tesla, that is Coop. Let's take a screenshot of those. Let's move on to the next two. All right, Tesla, Coop. Let's take a look at the next two, which are UPST and Coin. All right, UPST, let's take a look here. Stock's gapping up 276 a share. All righty. I'm gonna have to do quite a bit of fibs on this thing, I think. Not actually. Let's take a look at this thing intraday. I think it will have to get a last previous day level as well. Yeah. That's fine. That works. All right. 271.22 pivot to the upside today. This level was able to hold. We got room towards the 280.25 to 289.28. Unable to hold. We look for a pullback on UPST towards 260.26 to 247.23 on the downside if that level breaks. Overall on UPST, I'm actually going to be leaning on a little bit on the bearish side, looking for a pop out the gate. I do think we can see a little bit of topping. It's been going parabolic for quite some time. So I think could be a little bit of a blow off to the upside today. It certainly is extended on the daily. So we'll see what happens there. But that is UPST. Let's take a look at coin. So looking for a pop topping. I guess it'll be leaning on the bearish side today after a move to the upside. Let's take a look at coin here. All right, so gapping down on the daily, back into EMA resist or sorry, support. Where are we at? 250. So pretty much into the 50 MA, which I am going to label 254.40. Let's do it on the chart. That should be fine there. All right, pivot to the downside today. 259.56. Levels able to be reclaimed. 267.61 to 277.79 level, which I doubt we get up there. Unable to hold. 254.41 to 250.74 on the downside will be tested. Coming into major range support on the daily, as well as that 50 MA, which is of course a major support level. So we'll see whether or not it's able to hold that. Overall, going to be leaning though on the bearish neutral side today. Going to be looking for a continuation grind lower into that 50 MA. And whether it breaks or not, we'll have to see. But it certainly does look like it's got room for continuation to the downside. So that's UPST, and that is coin. All right, let's take a look at the last two guys. Take a screenshot of these. So we're gapping down to the bottom end of this range here on path, guys. 57. It's probably as close as I'll get it. Let's get the fib to the downside from the recent range. There you are. Six, 268. All right. 59.11 pip. 59.11 is the pivot to the downside today. This level is unable to hold. We do have room to retest that 57 level. If that level breaks, 54s will be tested on the downside. Able to be reclaimed. Look for a pushback to 61.45 to 62.67. Going to be leaning bearish on path, looking for a continuation lower. See if we can get to that all-time low level and get some continuation to the downside today. We'll see what happens. But it certainly is looking bearish, in my opinion. So that is path. Let's take a look at GANX. Pretty decent gap up off the lows. Actually, pretty good chart off the lows too. I like this. Get that 50 MA labeled. Oh, wow, this place weird. All right, GANX. Let's take a look at this thing intraday. Get rid of that 12 level, yeah. Okay, so pivot to the upside today. 1083 levels able to hold. You got room back towards 1197 to the 1381 spot. Unable to hold. We look for a pullback towards the 972 area to that 858 on the downside. Going to be leaning on the bullish side out the gate, looking for a pop. And then I do think you'll see some topping in it come in. But it's certainly setting up nicely off the lows right now. And intraday on the pre-market looks okay. Watch for that flag to break to the upside for a continuation push. We'll see what happens there. So that is path. That is GANX. Okay, let's take a look at the SPY and the FANG. So market, let's take a look at that daily. Actually, I'll do it for SPY up here. We'll just link that, make it easy for us. There we go. Okay, so market pulling back into short-term EMA support, holding up for now. Pretty much bounced right off the 13, which is all right. Pivot to the downside today, 450.98. Levels unable to hold. We got room back down towards that 13, which is the 449.90 area. That level breaks, 448.55 will be tested, able to hold. We look for a pushback towards that last day high area. That's actually head and shoulders on the daily, but 453.09 on the upside. Overall in the market, I'm actually going to be leaning on the bullish neutral side today. I think we can get a push back off of these EMA support levels. See if we can get a little bit of a flag formation occur. Obviously, the key thing is going to be for this downtrend to break in the short term, which comes over second. It's downtrends all the way up there. So we do have some room to retest it technically. Probably would say that's your channel as well. worth keeping an eye on. Okay. So I'll be leaning bullish neutral on the SPY. See if we can get a push back to the top of that channel on the upside today. So that's the market. Let's take a look at Apple. There's Tesla, guys, breaking through that top wedge. Looks good. Apple, let's see what we got. So daily chart still looks absolutely fantastic. Lovely look. $157.30 pivot to the upside today. Levels able to hold. We have room towards that 159.11 spot. Unable to hold. We look for a pullback on Apple into the 156.08 to 154.93 on the downside. Overall on Apple, going to be leaning on the bullish side today, looking for a continuation push higher. If that pivot point is able to break and hold this morning. Daily chart still looks good, not extended to the upside. So I think we can get a continuation grind higher. So it looks good there. Let's take a screenshot of that. Let's move on to Amazon. All right, Amazon, let's take a look. Amazon daily looks good. A little bit of a double top from last day. However, it's still it's a nice bullish looking chart. Pivot to the upside today is going to be this level right here. The 35.28 level hold, 35.50 will be tested. Unable to hold 35.14 on the downside to the 34.84 level. Overall, leaning bullish, looking for a push through that double top on the upside. So that is Amazon. Let's take a look at Netflix. Did I not save my levels yesterday? I guess I didn't. That's okay. So Netflix will open up extended to the upside today, guys. Just an FYI. Let's get these recent ranges labeled. 621 there. All right, so we can call that 613.92 level pivot to the upside today. Levels able to be reclaimed. 620.76 will be tested. Unable to hold, we look for a pullback on Netflix towards 598.80 to 582.78 on the downside. Overall on Netflix, going to be leaning on the, I guess, bearish neutral side today, just because it's going to be a little extended. But I got to say, if it does hold the extension and continues to push, it's going to move big time, I think, squeeze type of move in it intraday to the upside. So we'll see what happens there. Facebook, lovely looking chart. I would say this is probably the best looking of the FANG right now for a breakout. Of course, Apple looks fantastic as well, but this does look great. So pivot to the upside today, 379.20. Levels able to hold 382.97. Will be tested, aka all-time highs, and we got some room to the upside there. Unable to hold 375.28 on the downside. We'll see what happens in regards to that pivot. Pretty quickly out the gate this morning. Leaning bullish neutral on Facebook. Let's take a look at Google. If I can rip through the last three after Google as well. Are these hidden? No. Weird. All right, Google guys, pivot to the upside today is going to be 289. Sorry, 28.91. Levels able to hold. 29.25 will be tested. Unable to hold 28.64 to 28.47 on the downside. Overall on Google, leaning bullish neutral as well, looking for a continuation push higher. Daily flag setting up for the next leg higher. This thing likes to stair step as well, so it does look quite good. All right, let's take a look at the VIX, the Qs, IWM real quickly. All right, VIX. So pivot to the upside today is going to be that 1857 area. Level holds 1984 will be tested. Unable to hold 1754, 1664 on the downside. Overall, VIX, I just use it for direction on the market. So keep an eye on it there, but it is holding above some EMA support on the daily. The only thing I would say about it is it's extended to the upside and it always fills its extension gaps. So I'm not saying I'm leaning bearish, but it's likely to fill its gap, which would be bearish. That's a sweet misprint candle. Ugh, I don't like that. All right, 382.84 pivot, levels able to hold 380.59 to 379.17. Sorry, 380.59 it holds, 382.84 will be tested, unable to hold 379.17 on the downside. And I will give us levels if it does break through all-time highs to the upside later on. Just don't have time to do it right at this moment. And then IWM real quick. Okay, a little bit of a pullback into EMA support. Looks like that short-term uptrend is broken as well. 226.44 pivot, levels able to hold 227.91, 229.39, unable to hold, look for a pullback to 224.34 on the downside, which is just further EMA support on the downside, but that's actually the 13 EMA. Overall on IWM, I will be leaning on the bearish neutral side today. Downtrend's intact, below some short-term EMA support. It's got room to retest the 13. So I'll be looking for a slight pullback into that level today. All righty, guys. So that's a SPY, that's a FANG. Those are the individual names that we're looking at today. I'm going to go ahead and pass over to South Beach while I type up the pre-market action plan, guys, and I will talk to you shortly. South Beach, if you're ready, it's all yours.
Guys. Okay, hump day. Let's see what we got. Futures have been all over the place, right? I left last night to go out. They were up, what, 7, 8. Came in this morning. They were down, I think, 10. They've been all over the place. So that's what we got with that. Let's look at the bond market. What's going on there? Okay. So we got the 10-year down 0.02 at 0.34, 1.34. Okay, so kind of at the top end of the recent range. We did get higher than that, you remember, at 175. But yesterday was interesting because the 10-year went up like, what, 0.06 or something like that, 5 at one point, and these banks couldn't get out of their own way, which I found interesting, okay? Very unusual action. That's not what we've been seeing, so it's worth noting. The spread is a little bit steeper, the 5 versus the 10. And that's that, okay? So let's look overseas. They had a rally like we did. Yield was higher. So their 10-year is 0.72, down 0.02. Germany is minus 0.33, that's down 0.02 as well. So the bonds are coming off that big rally they had yesterday, effectively. Big rally in yields, I should say. Okay, so, okay. So if the banks couldn't go up when the yields were higher, I would doubt they're going to go up when the yields are coming in a little bit. That's just what I'm thinking. Let's look at the commodities market. Okay, oil's up a bone. Okay, still in a range. All right, so the range, I guess you could say, is what, 62.75, and it's at 69. So okay, no, nothing big there. Copper's down 3 cents. also in that trading range, 479 high, $4 low, kind of towards the lower end. I think that spike earlier is just that, a spike. And lumber is a little elevated. I think that's because of the the weather that's been so violent and the need for more lumber. I think that's transitory for sure. Okay, currencies. Dollars mixed against North America, down against the yen, down a little bit against the Chinese currency, but again, in ranges. Okay, nothing major going on in the currency market. And the euro's at 118, so a tight range for that as well. In the crypto world, okay, so you had that big move yesterday on El Salvador, having problems making Bitcoin like kind of like a currency, and so that came off a little bit, but bounced back a little at the end of the day. Ethereum's down basically unchanged, and Bitcoin's down $1. You know, I don't care for Bitcoin. Ethereum is my favorite of the two. That's because I don't think Bitcoin has any usage, and I don't believe this store of value nonsense, but you may. Okay, just my opinion. And on the indexes, what do we have? We have the FTSE down 0.5%. We have the DAX down 1 and change, 184 points. And over in Asia, China's basically flat, as is Hong Kong, and Nikkei's up 1%. Now you remember that thing, government. Well, Japan's going to get a new government, and they're really happy. So this thing could have legs for a lot longer than 3 days. Okay, so that's what's going on in that market. Let's see what else. We have China. Who are they going after today? They're going after Goose, saying that their jackets, Chinese jackets, are just as warm and false advertising, so they're suing them. Don't be surprised if that happens with Tesla one day, guys. Okay, they're going to benefit the homegrown companies at the expense of foreign companies. Sure as I'm standing here. Okay, that's my feeling anyway. So that's China. Meanwhile, the stocks acted really good yesterday. So, nice bounce. And we have a lot of verbiage going back and forth. We had Ray Dalio saying you can't ignore China. You have Soros saying another thing. Who knows? Okay, all I know is the government is anti-capitalism, proves it every time, and that can't be good for their equities. That's all I know. Okay. So that's that. Oil was in a range. The virus. I was reading an article on Israel today. They were like the leading country on the virus, and it's a mess there now. 61% inoculated. Certain groups don't want to get the vaccine. Kind of sort of a mess over there. And they're doing a lot of what is called the booster shots. So that's what's with them. Mr. Market yesterday, what did we have? On the long side, we had China, FANG, and the virus stocks. Okay, those were the three strong groups. And on the weak side, we had the opening up stocks, basically. Cyclicals were weak. Retail was weak. Machinery, home builders, banks, insurance, Bitcoin. What else did I miss? Consumer non-durables, pharma, etc. Okay, so we had weakness. What can you say? The Dow was down like 260 or so. The Nasdaq was up a little bit. Not what I would have expected with interest rates going up. Okay, buddy. I will wait a day. And what I'm saying in Tesla is not today, tomorrow, or the next day. This is going out. Okay. I think Tesla is a fabulous company. Okay, and let's pray it goes up for our Durant. Let's do the Tesla jig. Okay, and it is up this morning. Yeah, way to be, buddy. Good call. So that's that. Okay. What else do we have coming out today? Numbers wise, we had KFY was good, Coop and Johnson Controls. We had a takeover KDMN at a decent premium by Sanofi. IFRX is proceeding with developing a new drug. TBPN, is that the right? TBPN. TBPH, how about that one? Yeah, TBPH, 0.72 has 7%. Over the years, I found that one of the worst companies to follow as far as taking a position because they have a position is 0.72. Okay, because they're traders, guys. They're not investors. If you see like a Value Act taking a 7% position, pay attention. But if you see a trading firm like 0.72 take a position, completely ignore it. And there's no trading firm that trades more than 0.72. That's what Steve Cohn is all about. Okay, so ignore 0.72 on all 13 whatevers, cheese, D's, whatever. Okay, Pera goes up. They made an acquisition this morning, and LYB is up because they are looking at strategic options for their refining business. Okay, so that's the positives. The negatives on the earnings front was SMAR, Sherwin-Williams, not a surprise after PPG missed. They do have a lot of overlap. RevG, Path, Kathy stock, acting like crap, has acted like crap for a long period of time. Stock's a dog. And I've tried, believe me. And Jeannie, another one of her stocks missed. Okay. What else? RADI is doing a convertible note. I didn't see the size of that, so I got to do the work on that one. RADI. 200 million, $17 stock. I will look at this in a bit. But there's going to be about 60, 120, 120 million, about 120 million divided by 17. A lot of stock. Let me double check my numbers because I don't want to throw out this number unless I'm sure of how many sales they have to, how many shares they have to short. Okay, I think the call of the day though, guys, believe it or not, is the return to syndicate. All right, that's a big to do. All right, they had left the marketplace for a couple of weeks, end of summer. They're back with a vengeance today. They're going to stay around as long as they can sell stock. They are going to pound this market with new issues and secondaries and whatever else they can bring, because that's how they make their money. All right, so today we have what? 1, 2, 4 secondaries. Okay, Cody, 4, HLNE, and OPCH. All right, and a fair amount of money. Okay, what? Where's this thing? 1.5 million Cody, 1.6 million for 1 million shares of HLNE, OPCH 1 million shares of that, and you've got a bevy of ones coming out tomorrow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more coming tomorrow, and next week you watch. There's going to be dozens of them. All right, and they're going to suck the liquidity right out of this market at exactly the wrong time. But they don't give a damn because they need to raise money. So who do we have? AGL, Bumble, CERT, GLBE, IMPL, McAfee, MRVI, NGMS, and OCDX. And the grand one of all that pisses me off is NEO, because the reason they're doing this at the offer, I don't care that they're doing an offering, but they were trying to raise $2 billion at the market, okay? 50 million shares. Now NEO trades what? 41 million shares a day. Why don't they just say, okay, guys, we're going to do a 50 million share secondary, price it in the hole, let investors have an opportunity to buy it at whatever price they think is right, and let the market work its way out. But no, they have to be sneaky about it and do 50 million shares at the market. So whenever they see liquidity, they hit bids. That is just BS, guys. All right, I'd stay the hell away from NEO. And you remember what I said to you, Spartan, yesterday on the line? I said, this NEO really acts like crap, okay? That's because they were calling people yesterday, telling them we're doing a secondary and getting, taking their temperature to see if they can do a 50 million share secondary. That's what happened. And guys were shorting it in advance, guaranteed, okay? Absolutely 100% guaranteed. That's why the stock acted crappy. All right, there's a lot of shit going on, guys. You have to let the tape, be your guide. Don't listen to anybody. People lie, okay? Stocks don't. That's the way it is, okay? All right, let's look at research. So on the short side, we have SAM, Citibank, lowering the target from 814 to 618. Stock's 559, down from 1300. Stock's probably going lower. UHS, neutral to sell over at Goldman, target 155 to 150. Stock's 155. So they're basically saying that they have a really good acute business, okay? But their inpatient business, which is only 45% of their business, is soft, and that's where the money is. So they're downgrading it based on that. Okay. Path reiterate the sell at Summit Research. This is the only guys that got it right, guys. So I would tend to think they're right. Reiterate sell target 40. Okay. Everybody else is soft pedaling it. Buy opportunity, neutral, whatever. These guys have had it right. Always go with the analyst that has it right. Okay. And this guy seems to have it right. Cracker Barrel, this is an interesting call as well. So they reiterate the sell in Cracker Barrel, and they lower the target from 164 to 137. Stock's 141. I mean, I think Cracker Barrel is a typical, average restaurant like Cheesecake or Eat or any one of these, a Bloomin'. It's all the same crap. All right, Cracker Barrel is a really well-run company. They serve a really good product in a nice, clean environment. Okay, but they're saying they have to sell because inflationary pressures regarding labor inflation. And if they're saying this in Cracker Barrel, why can't it be for all of these companies? All right, Eat, Bloomin', etc. So I'm a little suspicious of this group because of wage inflation, and they also have inflation in their cost of goods. So I don't know. I think that it just made me think about this group in a less favorable light. All right, so that's that one. On the long side, the call du jour would be UBS on American Eagle. Reiterate the buy, target 49, stocks 26. Growth will surprise next year, and we'll see multiple expansion. Okay, they're not the only guys that are really bullish in American Eagle, so keep an eye on this puppy. Moffett-Nathanson, who's good at only cable, really, is out positive on Altice. Target 47 from 55, and they say the valuation is the street's just missing the forest through the trees. They have a 12.6% free cash flow yield, and the stock's way too cheap. So those are the two big calls on the buy side that I could see. All right. Rounding out, Morgan likes Apple, target 168. They think this App Store lawsuits are only 1 to 2% of their earnings in the worst case, and they continue to like the stock 168 target. They like the acquisition that State Street made by Brown Brothers Harriman, investment services business for $3.5 billion. Brown Brothers Harriman is like one of those old white shoe investment banking firms. I think George Bush's senior's dad was a partner there, if I'm not mistaken. So it goes back, really a blue blood kind of firm. And they like that deal. AbbVie, JP Morgan's positive on that one, target 140. They also like Netflix, target 705. They have only 20 to 25 penetration in global streaming, so there's an opportunity there. Let's see. Mizuho likes this Ring. They have a 400 target, stocks 240, sell-off overdone. The fact that this strategist retired, I guess their in-house visionary retired, is they took too much out of the stock because of that. So that's what they're saying. Jefferies raised the target in Microsoft from 335 to 345, and they're saying, yeah, Altice, that's it, Genfis. I have their service. As you know, my cable service stinks, and I think Altice is the devil. They're saying the price increase that Microsoft put through for some of their software is a big positive. They like that one. ALT, a stock that Twins got me into, reiterate the outperform over at Piper, and they raised the target from 16 to 34. He's been all over this stock and dead right. Thank you, my man. They also like Upstart, target 191 to 300. Share gains, broker acceptance by major bank partners. I think this company is just it's just fabulous. It's just a fabulous company. What can you say? Not only do they make you more money, and they reduce your risk using AI and giving out loans. I mean, that is just, what more can you ask for, right? Bren likes Albemarle. They go from a sell to a buy, target 280, and they like Ollie. So that was the gist of it. I told you the secondaries. Kathy bought NVTA and Fate again, and ADPT, and on the short side, she sold that Zangan again. She keeps selling, and all the other sells are kind of, Trade Desk, she sold 200,000 of that. Other than that, my time's up. So I'm going to give it back to Spartan, and let's make some money today, guys. It's all yours, bud.
All righty, thank you, Salt Beach, guys. Keep an eye on that big as well. We're just pushing through that. I know most of you guys are swinging it overnight with me, but pre-market highs, or after our highs, we're testing, I should say. Then 1190s, and then I think it was like 1320s. I'll have to do the fib again on it. I can't remember exactly. I gave you guys a level yesterday, but keep an eye on it. Anyways, guys, if you're new to chat, thanks for coming in. We'll go through the information in regards to the rules, etc., in a little bit. But click on the Discord link that's emailed to you. If you don't see it, it's in your junk mailbox. It's sent out automatically, okay? So pre-market tickers on watch. What do we got going on today, guys? You can pause this if you're watching the YouTube stream and just simply read over the pre-market notes if you want. All the charts are obviously posted. And then we also have the option side. Oh, maybe not posted yet, but when it is posted, I'll go back to it. Anyways, today, Tesla, Coop, UPSD, CoinPath, GANX. Tesla, China Passenger Car Association said Tesla delivered or made China-made vehicles were 44,264. Stocks capping up. Coop, earnings beat, EPS and revs, year-over-year growth 42.3%. Q3 guidance raised, EPS and revs 2021 guidance raised, EPS and revs as well. Stocks capping up. UPST, Piper Sandler maintains overweight on UPST and raises price target to 300. Stocks capping up. Coin 3.5 billion in liquidation in the last 24 hours as crypto bloodbath continues. Path, earnings miss, EPS and rev beat, Q3 guidance slightly higher. GANX, Gain Therapeutics announces positive top-line data in patient-derived iPSC study evaluating Stark compounds as a treatment for Gaucher and Parkinson's disease. Stock is gapping up. Let's take a look at these names from a technical standpoint. Intraday, the first two that we're going to be doing or looking at are Tesla and Coop. So Tesla, guys, gapping up, testing the top part of the channel to the upside, which if it breaks through and holds, we should go parabolic. 761.56 pivot levels able to hold. We got room towards 779.02 to 796 on the upside. Unable to hold 746.56 to 730.20 on the downside. Overall on Tesla leaning bullish, looking for a continuation push higher today. Coop pivot 277.22 level holds, room towards 285.91 to 295.34. Unable to hold 268.16 to 261.33 on the downside will be retested. Overall on Coop going to be leaning bullish neutral, looking for a continuation push higher if the pivot is reclaimed. UPST and Coin. UPST pivot to the upside today is going to be the 271.22 level holds, room towards 280.25 to 289.28 on the upside. Unable to hold 260.26 to 247.53 will be tested on the downside. Overall on UPST leaning bullish neutral, looking for a continuation push higher. UPST, sorry, not UPST, Coin, 259.56 pivot, unable to hold 254.41, aka the 50 MA will be tested to 250.74. Able to hold, look for a push to 267.61 to 277.79 on the upside. Overall on Coin, leaning bearish, looking for a continuation pull to the downside if that pivot point's unable to hold. Let's take a look at Path. Let's take a look at GANX. Path 59.11 pivot, unable to hold, room towards 57.02. If that level breaks, 54 will be tested. Able to hold 61.45 to 62.67, leaning bearish, looking for continuation lower. Did break the all-time lows just now this morning. So I think we can get continuation to the downside. GANX 1083 pivot level holds 1197 to 1381 will be tested. Unable to hold 972, 858 on the downside. Overall on GANX, going to be leaning bullish if that pivot point can be reclaimed this morning. So we'll see what happens there as well. Let's take a look at SPY and the FANG market. What's going on here, guys? 450.98 pivot. Let's type this out. SPY 450.98 pivot on the upside today. This level holds, room higher into the 451.58. Whoops. Okay, resistance breaks. Breaks. We see the 453.09 tested. Pivot unable to hold. Room lower into the 449.40 support. Breaks. We see the 448.55 level tested. Right now on the market, going to be leaning bullish, neutral. So I want to see a hold of this bottom end channel, grind to the top part of the channel. We'll see if that's able to occur. Don't know. We'll see. It should be an interesting open on the market, I should say. Apple pivot to the upside today, guys. 157.29 level holds. 159.05 will be tested. Unable to hold. Look for a pullback towards 156.08. Apple's looking fantastic on the daily. Looking for continuation higher, leaning bullish, neutral. Pivot to the upside today on Amazon. Is that double top from the last couple of days? Got rejected at it yesterday. 25.28.67. That level is able to hold or reclaim. 25.50 will be tested on the upside. Unable to hold. Sorry, not 25. 35.50. Unable to hold 35.14 to 34.84 on the downside. Leaning bullish, neutral, looking for a retest of that double top. Netflix pivot 613.92 level holds 613.92 holds, room towards 620.76. Unable to hold 598.80 to 582.78 on the downside will be tested. Overall on Netflix, going to be leaning on the bearish neutral side just because it's opening up extended. But if it does hold that extension and push, it will push hard. So I will look to grab calls on that. Facebook 379.20 pivot level holds. We got room towards the 382.97 all-time high. Unable to hold 375.28 on the downside will be tested, leaning bullish. Beautiful range break setting up on the daily for continuation higher. Google pivot to the upside today is going to be that head and shoulders 28.91 levels able to hold 29.25, unable to hold 28.64, 28.47 on the downside. Overall on Google, leaning bullish, looking for a continuation push higher if that head and shoulders is able to push back to the upside or reclaim, I should say. Let's take a look at the VIX. VIX, guys, pivot to the upside is going to be the 1857 level. This level is able to hold. We got room towards 1984, unable to hold 1754, 1664 on the downside. Overall on the VIX, going to be leaning on the no direction, actually. It is extended to the upside on the daily, though. So notable. And then 380.59 pivot on Qs, level holds, room towards the all-time high, 382.84 level. It's actually 382.78, I guess. Unable to hold 379.17 will be tested on the downside. We'll see what happens there. And then last but not least, guys, IWM. 226.44 pivot, unable to hold, room towards 224.34. Able to hold. We look for a pushback to 227.91 to 229.39 on the upside. And overall on IWM, going to be leaning on the bearish neutral side today, looking for a continuation pull towards this lower end support, aka that 13 EMA on the daily. So that's a SPY, that's a FANG. Those are the individual names that we're looking at today, guys. Thanks for watching the YouTube stream. Have any questions, feel free to reach out.